This week, I've been working with almost all of my clients on this one thing. And I'm here to tell you what I've learned from those sessions that I've done this week. And that is this. In 2026, your story matters more than ever before. So look, we are living in a world with more AI content than we've ever seen before. This time last year, we weren't even in this position. And what that means is that more and more and more content is out there, more and more and more your audience that you're speaking to are seeing this kind of generic AI created content, which is otherwise known as AI slop. And what that means is that your audience are going to be looking for more and more and more less polish, more authenticity, not perfection, much more human. And I'm going to say this because even now, I think that AI is doing a pretty good job of doing the generic human thing. So the reason that your story matters more than ever before is because you're the only person who's had that experience. You're the only person, your story is the only thing that you can tell people. You know what I mean? Like only you know that. No other internet being knows that. And therefore you can share your story from a really authentic place. And what we know to be true is the more personal, the more universal. So as of today, right now, I want you to think, your story matters more than anything. And you have a perfect opportunity coming up, because the reason I've been talking about story with many of my clients is because this week is the week most people are prepping for, or have been prepping for, the yearly kickoff meeting. This is where you as a leader get to reshare your vision, reignite your team, set the goals for 2026 and set them on course. And your team does not need more information. They need to know what matters, and your story is the most important part of that. Now, you will have a vision, I hope. If you've watched anything of mine, you'll know how keen I am that you share your vision regularly and you keep people on course regularly. And in any opportunity that you ever have to speak, are you sharing your vision? But in a kickoff talk, with the moment at the beginning of the year, you want to share your vision. And this is such a good opportunity to bring in some story that backs up that vision. There are a whole array of ways of doing this. I've been working with leaders for years now, and every year we come up with something slightly different, slightly new, but it always comes from that leader. I always say to my client, what do you mean? What attaches you to this? What do you care about? But one of my favorite options is that kind of origin story. So, for example, the presenter coach vision is to create a world where fearless, authentic communication replaces nerves, confusion, and tired old habits. What we want to do is turn workplaces into spaces full of clarity, trust, and real human connection. You can probably tell I'm reading that a little bit. My little eyes moving like that. But let me tell you why that's the case. In my last office job, if you like, I was in a senior management position, but sandwiched between a higher management and a team that I was running. And I'd got myself into a bit of a state. I was trying really hard to do this job really, really well, but never really felt like I was meeting the criteria in both directions. And I remember just sitting at my desk feeling utterly, utterly lost. I was overwhelmed. I was overworked. I was trying too hard. I was tired. I was ending up making poor decisions. And where this moment ends is me in an office with the manager of my manager, the boss of my boss, if you like, telling me that, you're doing a great job, but we need to move you to another place in another role, and your whole family are going to have to move from this city to this city. And I walked out of that meeting with self-esteem so low, I thought I'd been fired. I walked into the car park, sat in my car and burst into tears. I was broken. I actually decided to do the thing I should have done 6 months previously, which is leave the job, right? It wasn't the right moment. I wasn't leaving the city that I was in for another city for the same stuff over and over again. And what I came to realize was the reason that my self-esteem had got so low was because I had not communicated my needs in more ways than one. I had not communicated what I needed in terms of my boundaries. I had not communicated what I needed in terms of my ideas, and I had not done it in a way that people would listen. And the irony is, I'm working with presenters, right? I'm working in a position where I'm training presenters, radio presenters, to do all of those things, and I was not doing it. And the second reason that I was in that position is because I had a leadership that just did not provide that space for me to be able to do that, because the communication was so poor. I didn't know where I was. I'd get emails about things that weren't clear. I had no idea. When someone said to me, "What's the purpose?" I had no idea. I was completely lost in the middle of all of that because I wasn't communicating well and I wasn't being communicated well with. And so when I set up the presenter coach with all of these tools that I had, I wanted the world to be a place where no one should be sat at a desk thinking, what am I doing? Why am I here? Why can't I make this work? Because they've not been able to communicate their needs, and that their leader has not given them the direction and the communication that they need to be able to do so, right? So that is why I decided to set up the presenter coach. So what I've done there is I've shared the vision with you and I've given you the story behind. And what that story does is it gives you the opportunity as the audience to come into this world with me. It gives you the opportunity to see in my personal moment, that universal moment. I've put you in the middle of that story and I'm bringing you into my world. And that means that you have an opportunity to engage. It means that you can make a decision. It means that you can have agency. It means that you really understand. And you as a leader become someone who is relatable, believable, someone they can trust because you're sharing those things about yourself. Now, as I said, this is one way that you can create that story around your vision. There are many ways to create stories, many ways that we can bring in your relatability to your audience. And that's just one of them, the origin story. Why do you do what you do? Do not underestimate the power of AI and in fact the amount of content that your audience, your team, your people are seeing. And do not underestimate that AI slop, and do not underestimate the power that AI and those other people have at being kind of generically human. No one can be you. And so today, bring in that vulnerability, bring in that story, and use it in this kickoff season, if you like. Now, one side note. My insides are churning at sharing that story with you. It means so much to me that I'm so vulnerable in this moment going, oh God, I've just shared this thing. And I will press finish and publish on this piece of video, and I will probably worry about it in my sleep in my sleep tonight, etc., whatever. The point is, this is when I know it matters, and this is when I know I'm doing it right, because that's the feeling you should be getting when you are sharing in this way, and you will be so surprised at the reaction. So use your story, use it as a way to communicate in this landscape that we have now of generic human-y sounding stuff that's created by AI, and really dig deep into those personalized stories that you can share in a way that means that you can create relatability, familiarity, connection. If you are in that position where you're thinking, gosh, I know I'm supposed to tell a story, or I really get this idea of a story, but how do I create these stories? Where do I get these stories from? Do I have to tell full stories? Then please sign up to the waitlist for our Speaker Fit for Leaders workshop that I'm going to be doing online. The date will be announced as soon as I have it. We're going to do it very, very soon. In fact, it might even be in the link by the time you click it, but the link is below. Make sure you click on it. Make sure you sign up to the waitlist, because I'm going to give you a way to find your stories so that you can tell them in a way that matters to your audience from places that you would never believe they would come from. I'll be back next week with another video for you. In the meantime, have a great week, and remember, great communication will change your life, including the way you talk to yourself.